The next item is Press Plus Policy, Issue 93, which was on our board agenda in December. It's about 130 pages, and Dr. Skinkis.
Okay, so I did get some questions on that were submitted, and I have some answers. If we can go in order just on the ones I got questions from. One was on Board Policy 2:125. I don't have the page numbers in front of me, Mike, so okay. The question was just on this whole, the meals and the charges and whether or not we have to have the fare in there. The fare is going to be turned in on the sheet that we're submitting. It's $60. I'm not going to lie, the Policy Council and I kind of arbitrarily went through what's a reasonable price for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's $15, $20, $25 is what we were thinking. That's how we came up with $60. A lot of this has happened because in the last year or so, other school boards were going on a lot of trips using district credit cards, expensing some things to the school districts that may have not been in line with what's school district and board members' expenses should be, and so that's why this policy was put in place. Our board doesn't travel very much. We usually just go to the one conference, so we use that as an arbitrary number, and we have a resolution from our attorney. The question was submitted whether we should read that resolution. We should pass that resolution sometime within the next month to just make sure that's on the books. And then the protocol that I put in with the Policy Council on this, would that be every year when we approve the budget, we can approve the resolution to just make sure we're in accordance with what the statute is. The next question was if there were some expenses that were submitted. This is actually off the bills, but there were some expenses that were submitted from the III conference. This policy goes officially into effect January 1st of 2017, so those would not be applicable. Plus, the bills covered the expenses it was well under the limit, so we were okay with that. But we should make sure that we highlight that just to get in that practice when Scott reads the bills.
With the policy, there's not a limit on the dollar amount to when the board has to do a separate resolution, is there?
No.
And is it when they were incurred or when we approve them? Because even though they're November expenditures, we're approving them in January.
But I think they occurred.
Okay.
So I asked Nikki today, Scott and I called, and she thought because they occurred in November, we were okay.
And let me ask, you covered the 60 pretty well, but my real question and the initial one is, on your control sheet, you said we were adopting this option. Are they going to insert on
Yes,
225 with the $60 in the?
I believe so, because I had to write the dollar amount on the control sheet.
Okay, I got it.
That goes to Press Plus.
Thank you.
I think we wanted to avoid paying for big, huge meals,
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
yeah.
It seemed like a reasonable number. I was just
We want to be
curious.
in the business of steakhousing.
No.
The next one was 2:200. I think it's 58. Is it likely the district would have a disposable payment? Few and far between would be my answer there, but there is always a possible chance. We do have some IMRF employees that are non-union secretaries that are IMRF. So if we ever did a retirement agreement with them, that would be applicable. In regards to the closed session minutes, we want to continue to follow the protocol. The procedure that's in their exhibit closely aligns to what we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years, so it just makes it easier.
Just doesn't do it by category like this exhibit is suggesting.
So we could tweak this. We talked, Mary Ann and I, that we could just tweak the sheet.
I mean, she does a good job keeping track of mine. This
Right.
just makes her do something extra.
We
if
actually,
adopt
we
this.
like our protocol.
Okay.
But just to have a general template in the policy manual, so if a majority of the board changed and wanted to do it some way different, there was a template there for them to follow.
Okay.
I think we did a good job with it.
Yeah, no,
I think we did.
I was just concerned she was gonna have to come up with a whole new kind of control with that. Okay.
The district does not destroy videos. Gary archives the videos. He randomly plays board meeting videos.
Okay.
Does the district need to contact its contractor? So right now, we have 2 contractors that have daily contact with students. That's Aramark and Quest, so we're going to update them on this policy once it's passed so that they can run through their background checks. We perform the background checks for them, and they reimburse us.
Oh, okay.
And most of the construction work that's going to be done next summer, summer of 17, and the roofs, there won't be daily contact with students, but we still make them aware of our board policy.
Okay.
Operational services 4110, on a regular basis, Joel does routine PMs or preventative maintenances to check on, only some of these items are applicable to our minibuses. And then whenever we have a new employee that's being passed to operate our minibuses, not only does Scott take their license and put them on our insurance, but then Joel walks them through on how to work like the emergency door, how to do, make sure they walk through the back of the bus before they exit the bus.
I'm sorry, that it was hard to read because of where I put it. I was really asking a question about the foster care, where we have to notify the public about it. It was the comment.
Okay, I didn't look.
That's okay. Forget it then.
The next one,
We struck a provision on addressing credit cards and procurement cards, and it says delete doesn't have P cards, but we have credit cards.
we do have only 2 credit cards. We do not give them to employees to use
Oh, okay.
for reimbursement or to take on trips or to fill gas or stuff like that.
Okay.
General personnel, Scott, we use a sheet very similar. It's called the blue sheet, so this will be adopted and tweaked to match our procedure currently. Teachers know to get that when they take their teams on trips. 5:190 teacher qualifications. Kristen, you want to address quickly?
So we do receive Title I funds, so we'll be publishing that parents have a right to ask for teacher credentials in the student handbook, since all parents sign
Okay.
off on that in the summer.
Okay.
Kristen, same with 6:50. We're going to have that in our student handbook, and we'll have it will also be available on the webpage, correct? Under the student
We
handbooks.
also put it in district newsletters as the testing date approaches as well.
And that was with the 652, the wellness. We're going to keep that, have that included in the handbook. And then we went to 6:34, the testing. So that's between the district calendar, the district website. And we have a general calendar that goes in the handbook, so that talks about the summary of the, what assessments will be given.
The question was made publicly available to parents or guardians of students. Do we make a report publicly available, or can people actually
The
get
dates of the test.
Just the dates.
Oh, okay.
We just have to put the dates in, and that's something new. We did it, we gave it to ISB this year, and we put whatever we have available in the district, in the student handbook, as well as all of the dates are updated on our school calendar online.
But it doesn't even have the word date in the requirement. It says, all reliable assessments administered by the district and scored by entities outside the district must be, and 2 says, made publicly available to parents and guardians of students.
Right, so
Doesn't address
we're
dates.
letting them know, like, the ACT is being issued to all the juniors. So we're listing what tests are being administered and scored outside the district. Are you thinking that you
Yeah.
interpret it as it means their scores?
Yeah, it doesn't have the word date anywhere in the sentence. It says all reliable assessments.
Yeah, I believe the ISB report this year was just a list of the assessments, but we provide the parents the dates as well.
And do
You-
provide them score reports?
We do, for,
PSAE?
Do we make it publicly available for parents and guardians, the results of the assessment?
Well, it can't be made public because that's student confidentiality.
That was my question.
Right,
You
so
keep
we-
saying date, but it doesn't even have the word date in the requirement. So if it meant to say date, there's a word missing. And if it meant to be the assessment, I didn't think we could make them publicly available. That's exactly why I asked the question. I think,
I'm wondering if you look though how it reads, that district must report to the ISBA on this form, The form that goes to the ISB is just a list of all the assessments we give to our students that are not scored by our staff. And I'm thinking then number 2 says it also must be made publicly available to parents and guardians. I don't see scores in there either. So we're assuming that it means the same information must be provided to parents and guardians that their students are taking these national tests or these tests that are scored outside the district. And that we do
I make a
communicate.
suggestion, since the ISBA wrote it, and I don't want to hold this up, but I think you should follow up with our outside counsel. In my mind, it's being interpreted different than what it says.
All right, we could check on that.
So we could follow up, and if it's
But we're
correct,
not
fine.
looking to amend what they're asking to adopt. We just need to verify what they're asking for to make sure our procedures are matching. Right, but it doesn't impact the board approving the policy.
Okay.
And then, number 8, Kristen, I know we're already keeping a list of our concussions. Do we report that to the IHSA?
No, because that's a new requirement, but I already touched base with the athletic trainers, and they understand we'll be doing that moving forward.
And then
Thank
that
you.
takes us to bills.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay. That covers all the press policy?
Yes.
And then there's a
Resolution?
resolution?
I just had a quick question on that. Why are we changing, was it 825 advertising distributing material and 88 to the dollar limit?
Because the last thing that was approved before the board came, it was brought to the board, and the policy didn't have that limit, and we had a discussion to say, why don't we raise the limit so the superintendent can have some authority on approving advertising without coming to the board first.
Correct.
It had to do with the
donation.
Viola donation.
And it also had to do with that one donation we got to the soccer program.
Oh.
Remember, it was
Oh,
6,000.
that was the one, I'm sorry, yeah.
So,
We put 3.
It was the
right,
soccer.
the superintendent's not allowed to make a decision over 10,000 without prior approval to the board. We wanted to align kind of the dollar amounts. So we used 10,000.
Resolved that the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves IASB Press Plus Policy Issue 93 as presented in the January 10th, 2017 Board Agenda Packet.
Second, Mr. Walsh. Thank you, Mr. Cindy. Go for the vote.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.